All right, hello. Um, Super Bowl 31 predicts the corona. Well, there it is, right there. There's the corona. Now I've got to show you how to link this to the coronavirus. Okay, so I'm gonna have to rattle through this because literally every one of these tabs we've got to get through. Okay. Um, Two important things just to be just this is noteworthy right here. It's just these two scores. Well, just these two scores, just the score, 21 to 35. We are, boy, I'm not, I mean, I don't know if this is the year something's going to happen or not, but this is the year the Hoover Dam was finished. And well, as os, as is on the plaque on the dam, 31 to 35, and this year, and this is predicted. This year is predicted in, well, Back to the Future. Let's just say Back to the Future. It's predicted in some other places as well, but mainly this is coming from Back to the Future because Back to the Future has, well, if you've ever looked into 9/11, you'll know what Back to the Future has. It has lots of little foreshadowing things in it, and it's my belief that Back to the Future 2 has a lot of foreshadowing things to do with, um, may have to do with upcoming events. Um, Anyway, 21 is this year, and I'll tell you how this will become relevant here in a second. Anyway, so how are we getting this? This is a crown, yeah? So what, Dan? How does that reference the coronavirus? Well, if you look it up, I believe the coronavirus. If you look up the first case of it, they've made up some BS, and I say they've made up some BS. Who knows how this stuff comes about? But the 17th of November, 2019, right? Somewhere in China, a guy gets it. That's what their storyline is anyway. So bear that in mind. The 17th of November. Excuse me. Um, just bear that in mind for a minute, right? And it's 2019. 2019 is the year we're looking for. Okay. Um, let's go to. This is taking place in 97, and it's for the 96 season. So most of my timeline starts for all this predictive stuff starts actually 96, but 97's interesting, and the reason why I looked, well, I mean, the reason why this stuck out to me like a sore thumb was this, because I've been, having a look at all these different Super Bowls ever since this last one. I thought, well, with all the references in this one, and of course there's previous references like Madonna halftime shows, and I mean, basically, the Super Bowl is completely loaded with stuff. Um, In fact, I looked at a lot of Super Bowl games, and practically nearly all of them are loaded with something. So it's just a gold mine of, references for things to happen, maybe. I don't know, or references for the metaphor that we're going to be talking about here in a minute. Right, okay, so I've got a ton of stuff to get through. Um, anyway, what really got me going on this, right? So I put this in, right? And um, how do I get to that date? Let's do the date first, right? Let's go to here. In order to know about these dates, we've got to know about this thing, the 88 miles an hour, right? That's in Back to the Future, because this is a reference point for us to use. 1955 is a reference point. Doc says that I can't remember, I'd have to paraphrase him, but it's something like, it's almost like 1955. There's um, something significant about that year. He says it in the film somewhere. Um, and of course 88 miles an hour. So you've got your two balance numbers, which is 5 and 8, 58. And those two balance numbers reference 11 and 18. Okay, if we go to my chart that I did some time ago now, this is based off the Fibonacci sequence, okay? And then there's another set of numbers called the Lucas numbers, and I added two more rows of my own numbers in. I called them pi and phi. This whole thing references the golden ratio, okay? And you can take any two. You can start with any two numbers, add them together, and then add the previous sum together, like you would do with the Fibonacci sequence. And that thing will that set of numbers will always tend towards the golden ratio. Okay, so that 1.61. I think I've got it up here. No, not this one. 1.618. This thing right here. This set of numbers here. So anytime we're dealing with nature and beauty and things that we see, we're going to see this number a lot. It's encoded in everything. And we've got some other numbers in here which are encoded in the reality as well, which is pi to do with the completion of a circle, of a cycle. And we've got E, which is to do with, I believe it's to do with growth in the universe. I'm not 100% up on that at all, but you'll see 27 pop up a lot in certain places. So, and of course 31 pops up a hell of a lot. What do I want to say about this? So anyway, bear in mind these numbers here. 3.14, and let's just go back to my table a minute, because if we start adding up columns in these tables, all I've done is done the Fibonacci sequence. I've started, we've got the regular Fibonacci sequence, we've got Lucas numbers, which starts on 2, and then I just added in starting on 3 and added in starting on 5, and we did a set of numbers for each one. Well, when we look at these two columns here, this is the cross of Lorraine that happens to form in here, and you know, the reason why we choose these two columns is because this column is the column of man, number 6, and that is to do with about the balancing point between nature, which is all, you know, based in multiples of 12 or divisible by 12 or you know, 3 or 6 or whatever. Those numbers go into 12, right? So this is all based around 12, you know. That's our sort of natural measuring, you know, numbers, right? And then we have what we would call what I'd call the fictional column here of balance, which is based around the 10, right? And so we see this with the decimal system. That's, you know, it's in our reality for a reason, and it's in there to show us balance between this, you know, between the fiction 10 and between nature 12, right? And so we pick out the 5 and the 6. This is the number of man, 6, right? Well, if we come down these two columns, when we draw out this table, 5 and 8, these are reference points, right? Well, in Back to the Future, 85 is the year that this thing's set, okay? And they go back to 1955, right? If we total up this column, the fictional column, we get 55 this way. If we total up just the bog standard 1 to 10, we get 55. And if we go to the 10th Fibonacci number, we get 55. And funnily enough, if we total up that column here, we get 143, which is 55 plus 88. And we've got that down here with this column of man, which totals 88. Okay, well, right at the start of this thing, right, I've got another chart, and I actually drew some loops on here to represent 8. You know, this, just bear in mind this whole thing, 213 starts with 213. The completion of the cycle is 123, and if we total this, we've got 321. And if we go on to the 12th in this line here, we've got the 322, the skull and bones number, and that's referencing nature again. So the balance point in this column, though, is this 1118, right? Okay, so these are the numbers that we're looking for if we're looking for, you know, a balance ritual. Okay, and these other numbers will show up as well: 14, 23, 20, 33. You know, 33 balances the sun and the moon. So we'll see all these sort of numbers popping up quite a bit. 29 copper. Venus, you know, that's the sum of these two balance numbers. What else do I want to say? Anyway, this 134 here, or 314, which is down here, which I called pi, the pi column, It's also right here, doubled in the start of this Cross of Lorraine chart, right? If we were to draw this out, if we would want to represent this, we would probably pick something like a four-leaf clover. That's what I would pick to represent this cross here. And we've got these numbers summing to 8. And these numbers are the first three numbers of pi, okay? 314. So we're going to see these numbers pop up quite a bit, okay? And what I'm saying is, this whole chart, this first part here is that there's an 88 right here embedded. And you put two eights are symbolize the same thing as this whole Cross of Lorraine. You've got an 8 has a natural, let's look at an 8 here, an 8 has a natural cross in the middle of it, right? So if you want a double cross, you're going to put two 8s together and you're going to get the four-leaf clover. Bloody hell, I'm waffling now. This chart, just bear this in mind, and we'll go through all the rest of this stuff now. So this is the other number that that is synonymous with Back to the Future, is 88 miles an hour. So we're told by Doc that 55 is a reference year and 88 is a reference year. Well, 88 is a big reference, right? Well, in the film, they go back 30 years and they go forward 30 years, right? Well, if we replace 85, or the 58 balance number, with the 88 balance number, we are going to end up going to this year if we add on 33 years, because if we go back to 55, that's 33 years from 88. So if we then add on 33 years, we are going to go a total of 66 years, and we are going to go to this year, 2021. This will become relevant here in just a second, because if we go to this Super Bowl, which is Super Bowl 31, okay, so we've got Super Bowl 31. Well, if we go, well, let's do it, Dan. Let's take, I had it on a thing here. Let's take 88 plus 31, and that takes us to 2019. That's that first case of the corona, right? Okay. And let's look at the day of the year that is, because this is, to me, this number is in my life quite a bit, with birthdays in my family. Okay, so quite significant day for me, the 17th of November. But look at it, 321, right? And we've got the 44 in here as well. Just bear that in mind when you're looking at numbers. What that means. That's the balance number with this number, 321. So we've got 321. Well, if we go back to those numbers that were in my table, 213 is 321 in a different order. 123 is right here in this row, and the 321 is right there as a total. I mean, the chances of this stuff coming up, the chances of the corona be, the first date that they picked, that reality picked for that thing to occur on, and we'll get onto this here in a minute. Fancy it being that date. Well, what's the next day on from there? I should really have the November up so you can see that this is actually November. But yeah, what's the very next day? So we've got, this is the eve of this thing, the eve of balance, this is, it's almost like Christmas Eve. This is the eve of the balancing date, which is 11/18. All right, November the 18th. And here, if you saw my Skull and Bones video, here's your 322 and your 43. Dam busters. This is, very. I mean, it's just, it's you can't write this stuff, and the fact that 143 is the sum of 55 and 88. I mean, how many times can stuff re-reference itself? I don't know. Anyway, so we're going to get onto some 1811s, or what we'll see is the 118. because that's got both numbers in it, with the one in the middle balancing those those two numbers. So it's almost like if you were going to conjoin this number here, 11, 18, that's how you would conjoin it. You know, you'd have, it would be 118. You know, that would then be, it's almost like it's been perfectly balanced because it's sharing one digit each. Anyway, you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. Anyway, so that's how this Super Bowl 31, Super Bowl 31 is referencing, is being referenced, is referencing the Corona. Probably because it's got this great big crown on the top of it, and it's 31 years from 1988. All right, to the outbreak of this thing. All right, so that's that video pretty much done. But, and if that's all you wanted to know, that's it. It's done. But I've got some more interesting bits and bobs that I'm going to flick through real quick, and I'm just going to stick with the football theme for this. I've got some other things that I want to talk about, but I'm going to do that in another video. So let's look. The halftime. The first thing to note is it's played at the Superdome, right? And I also want to just mention. Let's just look at this real quick. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I would be all over the place with this. Sorry. I got some stuff up there. I got all kinds of stuff up. Right, it's played at the Superdome, right? And it's the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. And we know what the Mercedes-Benz symbol is. The Mercedes-Benz symbol is the flux capacitor. You know, that's what that is. There it is, the flux capacitor. Okay, so we've got that link. The dome is the dam, you know. It's the speaker, you know, it's the upturned. I mean, anytime you see a dome, it's the dome represents the bell of the womb, the place where you come from. I'm trying to think, you know, Marty blows the speaker up at the start of the Back to the Future. If you look at them clocks in that scene, man, half of them clocks are at 11:18. But he blows the speaker up. Okay, now, you know, we just had the Arecibo Observatory crumble. You know, that's another link to that speaker scene in Back to the Future, or vice versa. Okay, that's the speaker. That's the thing that broadcasts the signal that controls you. You know, it's the, you know, the music, the poetry that we all get seduced by. Right. Oh, breath down. What do we want to talk about? So we've done the Superdome, and the Superdome is in. Well, let's do this link real quick. So the Superdome, and this has had tons of Super Bowls played at it, but the Superdome is in New Orleans, right? And so this brings me on to another little link to this whole story. Joan of Arc. And why is Joan of Arc relevant here? Well, there's going to be some really good links here if you've watched my other videos. Joan of Arc. This is another rebirth story here. This is the savior of France. This is the virgin maiden that takes the king and recrowns him, you know, as the king of France, right? This is what happens in this story. Why is New Orleans so important? Because if you go to Orleans in France, which would have been, you know, the original Orleans, that is where they had the first proper battle when she, you know, takes over the French army, and basically from that point on, she basically gets rid of the English. Of course, the English are always the bad guys. So she gets rid of the English, and we are we have the king is recrowned. Okay, that was her role. Okay, now there's also this little, she's known as the Maid of Lorraine. Okay, because there's these prophecies before she, you know, comes to the king's aid, basically. There's these prophecies that a virgin maiden will save France, right? Anyway, she has some visions, spiritual interactions, and that's what she does. She goes and visits with the king and tells him, you know, I'm going to get you recrowned, you know, or crowned, should I say, and we're going to take back France. It does sound a little bit far-fetched, doesn't it, this story? You know, a young teenage girl, you know, just a country girl, waltzes up and says to the king, you know, let me be in charge of the army, your army, and I'll get you recrowned. I mean, it just... if you know what I mean, it's almost unbelievable. But that is the way reality works with these historical events that happen, is they are, you know, you're like, can you really believe it? It's like some of the Bible stories. It's like, but the purpose of those stories, I've got a funny feeling that most of this stuff is based on stuff that happens, just crazy stuff. You know, like Kobe Bryant's helicopter crash. Did that really happen or not? Well, one way or another, that crazy story ends up in the reality. You know, these are the little stories, these are the little metaphors that weave themselves into, you know, our historical events that occur, you know, to give us the metaphors that we need to know in order to understand why we're here. Anyway, you know, it's my belief that this probably did happen. Most of the stuff with Jesus did happen, and that's how those stories get woven in there. You know, as unbelievable as they seem, that's, you know, just something that happens. Anyway, this Joan of Arc thing. We're gonna, you know, there's some interesting numbers that kind of come up here. Domremy, the place where she comes from. Huh. It's got the dome in it. We got the 61. The 6th of January is a estimated birthday. Fancy him picking that, you know, that date. Beautified. Beautified, is that supposed to say? On the 18th of April. Let's look at her coat of arms real quick. Here we go. Here's the coat of arms. We've got the sword, the male, the male symbol coming up, like the old Space Needle here, shooting through the eye of the needle. There's the corona. There's the crown. You know, and it's shooting up through, shooting through that crown. That's the place where you come from, the porthole, the black pearl, the, you know, the center of the eye. And we've got two fleur-de-lis on each side of this blue shield. Again, the dam is the shield, the blue is the fictional, the water, the feminine, and we've got the two, you know, the two sides of reality here being balanced, I guess. Anyway, I don't know what else to say about it really, apart from the fact that Joan of Arc, again, the Ark it's all of those same, you know, it's the Ark of the Covenant, it's Noah's Ark, it's all the same idea. It's the arch of the bridge, it's joining two sides of reality together, the metaphysical and the physical, man on wire between the twin towers. So this is what this is, you know. I mean, even just talking about that, even 7-Eleven. That, I mean, it seems a little far-fetched, doesn't it? The whole thing, but it weaves its way in there, one way or the other. I don't know what else to say. Dies in Normandy, you know. Of course, no man's land, Normandy, no name. What else do I want to say about Joan of Arc? Not a lot. If we look at her numbers, let's look at some of these numbers here real quick, because I put some in the Gematrinator, which will become relevant here in a minute. But if we look at Joan of Arc, she's an 83 or a 38. Now, in itself, that's not super interesting. Well, I mean, it's an 80, but If you start looking at some of these, if you start doing the gematria stuff, 83 comes up quite a bit, you know, and 38 does as well. One character that springs to mind is Kim Jong-un. That's one of his birthdays there. But anyway, let's leave this down, because what I want to let's jump away from Joan of Arc. One thing I do want to say about Joan of Arc was that she's the maid of Lorraine. The maid of Lorraine. And that I called that cross the Cross of Lorraine, and because if we look at another film that really references, oh blimmin' hell, where is it? Really references this whole thing that I'm talking about. Blimmin' hell, here it is. V for Vendetta. We've got this Cross of Lorraine that's, you know, the baddies use in it, right? It's just interesting that this is in there. Okay, this is the double cross again, you know, balancing both sides of reality. Okay, was there something else I wanted to show you with these pictures? Boy. Oh yeah, Big Ben. This is what happens. You know, this is what Guy Fawkes there to do: blow up the Houses of Parliament. And again, this is the clock tower. This is the clock tower that sits aloft the whole control system. Time. Interesting. But Big Ben, I mean, we can go right back to this game, because we've got Green Bay, we've got the Packers. Oh, that's the wrong people, isn't it? That's Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm getting the places mixed up. But yeah, actually, we've got Green Bay Packers. We've got the Packers, which represents the place where you go for shelter. You know, this is the bay. This is, again, a bay is usually shaped a bit like a womb. This is the place where vessels are birthed. You know, the bay. This is what offers you protection. Okay, so we've got the green bay, and of course it's green, because green is the fiction. Green is the blue overlay on top of the gold, and that forms the green color. Okay, this is why the matrix code is green. This is why Oz is green, right? And so we've also got the Patriots as well, New England Patriots. And what was I going to say about the Patriots? Yeah, this is the new man. This is New England. This is England reborn. Okay, this is coming out of the fiction, which, you know, of course, England has huge roots in the fiction, you know, in the fictional system. You know, it's probably the birthplace of the biggest fictional corporation, the East India Company, which is still the flag of America, you know, or partly flag of America. Anyway, let's look at those two things in the Gematrinator. We've got, and of course, Tom Brady just being in the Super Bowl and doing his rebirth with Tampa Bay. He's a 118, right? So we're looking at the forward and the reverse here. He's a 118. And let's come up and look at, because there's some other stuff in here you won't believe. Let's look at the oh bloody hell, Patriots right here. Patriots are 118. That's interesting. So the Patriots represent the man, right? Being reborn, the balanced man. Anytime, remember what I said, anytime you see that 1618, the golden ratio, here it is. Here's the 16, the 116. And that is, you know, here's the Superdome. This is the Virgin Mary again, the moon, the Superdome, the place that you're trapped inside. You're under the dome, okay? And again, the Superdome is, in fact, if you look at the inverse of the Superdome, right, it's a bowl. Again, the Super Bowl is the cup of Christ again. The Superdome is the cup of Christ. It's the place where you come from. You can flip that to the dome shape or the bell shape, up the other way up, and we've got another feminine body part. We've got the breast, and that's what we're all on. We're suckling on the breast of the fictional system. You know, it's delivering us, you know, the nutrients that we want. It's delivering us the milk and the honey. You know what I mean? That's all of, you know, our ideas and inventions that come to fruition through those, you know, through the manifestation of ideas. Blooming hell, I'm getting off track again. But anyway, you know, that whole idea is the same thing. We've got this, you know, the big speaker. So what was I saying? Patriots, Packers. Let's look at some more stuff. The halftime. Let's look at the halftime in this game, right? Let's just whiz down here. I'm going to be forgetting what I've covered and what I haven't covered. Pre-broadcasting. Here we go. Halftime ceremony. Okay, so we've got we've got the Blues Brothers Bash. I haven't put that in the Gematria, but this is you know, the Blues Brothers. You know, the blue of the fiction. This is where you are with your brother right now. Your brother is your clone, right? The clone of you. And I've talked about Cologne, Germany, and the reference to the dam. But this is you know, there's two of you. There's the fictional version of you, the birth certificate person, and there's the real you, the real man. Okay? And together, right now, what's happened is the real man has been sucked into the fiction. So you know, your brother that is blue, you are also now a blues brother because you've been pulled into that illusion, right? And to that control system. Anyway, interestingly, we've got Dan Aykroyd, we've got John Goodman who's going to sing in it as well. I'm not quite sure why he was in the film as well, but I don't know what character he played in the film. I can't remember because it's been a long time since I've seen the film. But anyway, he's singing in this, the Blues Brothers Bash at the halftime, and we've got Jim Belushi as well because, of course, John already died. So let's put those guys in the Gematrinator. Let's just put those three names in. So we've got, there's John Goodman, and we've got the 116 again, the feminine, the dam reference there, and he's a 181. That's interesting. Jim Belushi is a 108. That's interesting. And we've got Dan Aykroyd is a 118. I mean, the chances of those three all having a 1 and an 8 in the forward or reverse of their name, I mean, the odds start creeping up, don't they? Okay, you know, another character I've got down here is Mike Myers, you know, the funny version of James Bond. The reason why I put him in here, well, just because I stumbled across the fact that he was a 118 as well, but he was also in that, you know, this last Tom Brady Super Bowl. He was he made a reappearance after, I haven't seen him in years, you know. He's been off the scene for years and suddenly makes a reappearance, another rebirth, and he's in the adverts for that Super Bowl. You know, doing a Wayne's World deal. Anyway, super interesting. So I thought, well, you know what, I'll put in the two main characters of the Blues Brothers as well, Jake and Elwood. Just so happens that in the reverse, Elwood is 88 and Jake is 81. I mean, the mind boggles. You can't write this stuff. You really can't. Anyway, that's covered all the names. Apart from one more, Oscar Mayer. Oscar Mayer, 118. All right. Why are you telling me about Oscar Mayer, Dan? Well, I probably should have done this right at the start, but let's look at this now. What would that be? Bloomin' hell. Super Bowl 31 halftime show. This is the best video I could find of this, but here we are. Who's sponsoring the whole thing? Oscar Mayer, right here. We got the 118 right on top of the crown. Okay, Dan, let's go through this a little bit here. Let's just pull this down a bit so I can. This just annoys me. Come on. All right. Sorry, I'm just not very proficient with the. Okay. They do a few things here. Radio City sponsoring it. Look at this. The House of Blue. I think it says the House of Blues. Look at that. That looks like a heart catching fire. Or this idea here. I'll tell you what. The rebirth of the heart. The flames coming off of it. That's in I Pet Goat. The Jesus character is heart catches fire, and also it's not really the same shaped pot, but the Virgin Mary, the Black Mary in that holds. I'm pretty sure she's holding a pot that has the flames coming out the top of it. You know, they have that explosion in the background, and it lines up at a certain point. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting that was at the start of this, and I didn't really. Now they do a fake news report, which is interesting. So the Blues Brothers Bash, I should have put that in the Gematria. Anyway, we go through it. They sing a little bit. Everybody, actually, I think everybody's. I can't remember what it is. That's what they sing. Everybody, you know, the song from the film. Everybody. Oh yeah, that gives us the 121. Anyway, I'm digressing here now. I need to get on with this. What's interesting about this whole thing is, I'm sorry, but when we get to the end of here, the stage itself is set like two squares overlapping, or what I would say is the arrowhead, the upward arrowhead and the downward arrowhead overlapping. You can just make out one of them here, yeah, and the other one actually, and it's difficult to make it out in the video, but I looked at another video of this, but they took it down, and you could make out that there was another ramp coming off here and here. So this was like the A for Adam and the V for Eve overlapping, which I thought was super interesting. Anyway, that's probably enough on that. The Guy Fawkes thing. Let's just talk about the Guy Fawkes thing real quick, because we talked about the V for Vendetta having the Cross of Lorraine. Well, of course, V for Vendetta is all about this character, Guy Fawkes, right? And blowing up, you know, the clock tower, the Houses of Parliament, blowing up the control system, reinstating the king. Have I got him in here? I don't even think I've got him in here. Hang on a minute. Guy, if I spell it right, if I could even find an F on here. F, there we go. Here we go again with it. 118. So I'm going around in circles here on the 118. Alright, well, you won't believe this link right now. So we've got the 118 with Guy Fawkes. Check this out. This is just ridiculous. And let's go back to this. So the 18th of November, right? This is our reference day. The 118 combined is the 1118, right? The 322 number. Let's just go to this thing here. I've already got it up. No, let's not go to this one. What's this one? No, let's not go to that one either. Let's go to this one. I put in, this is a Gregorian to Julian converter, and you can already see what I'm showing you. The Gregorian day of 11/18. Guess what it is in the Julian calendar? November the 5th. Remember the 5th of November. So we've got Guy Fawkes night, bonfire night. is the same day in terms of, you know, calendar conversion as 11/18. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And we've got to remember that, you know, history repeats itself. There may be a reason why they've got all those barricades still around Washington, you know. History repeating. Who knows? Have I done this to death yet? I don't know. There's a few other references there that I maybe just quickly go through. Let's just look at the football, because while we're on the topic of football, I just thought it was interesting. They don't put these white bits on the football anymore. They look more like this. But I think my daughter said they maybe still have them in college football. Not 100% sure on that, but anyway, if you count the number of laces, right, there's 8 laces. So we've got the 8, and we've got, if you look at the ball like this, we've got the 1-1, right? This is the eye. This is the vesica piscis, the place where you come from. You know, this shape of the ball. If you were to unstitch this ball, right, down these seams, you would end up, and just leave it attached here, you would end up with that, albeit a very elongated version of a 8-8. Balancing right in the middle, crossing right in the center. You know, this would form that cross point. It would be a bit like a 4-leaf clover again, with that cross point in the center. I just thought I was interesting. Look at this Nike swoosh that's on Marty's shoes, on his red swoosh, like Dorothy, on his sneakers. Let's just put it in. I'm so sorry I'm so slow at typing, but let's do it. It's just do it. Are you? You just can't write this stuff. I tell you, you just cannot write this stuff. Oh dear. Okay. I don't know where to go from here, right? I think I've pretty much done this one to death. Let's just look at Diana really quickly, because I think Diana is an important reference for this, because we've got the Super Bowl 31, we've got the August, which is an 8 reference, we've got the September when that Super Bowl took place, not September, the 97 when that Super Bowl took place. I don't know what else to say about it. The 36, if we take and we balance the two 18s, if we double 18, you know, we have 36, don't we? If I count it up right. 28, 36, yeah. You know, there's a reason why she died. You know, she's Diana Frances Spencer. She dies in France. She's a Diana, the moon goddess. This is the place, you know, this is where you're born from, the fictional waters. Again, you know, the France reference back to the fiction, the decimal system from France. That's the fictional numbers that we're looking at. You know, the base 10s. You know, I mean, I don't know what to say about it. The 810 Aten, you know, this is what we're trying to balance, man and the 10, the Aten, attention. This is all stuff that pops up if you're looking at this stuff. And I'm sure that's to do with what we're trying to balance here. What else to say about Princess of Wales? Yeah, I mean, it's a Joan of Arc reference, this France thing again as well. I don't know. Anyway, I think I have to leave it there, to tell you the truth. I don't think there's anything really else that I want to talk about. Can I just mention this Tiger Woods car crash thing? Yeah, and these are the kind of stories that I was just saying about that are ridiculous. And I've got a shot here. This will take a few seconds to come up. But this guy that I watch every once in a while actually had this up on his screen, and I thought, well, this is interesting, because I couldn't find, this wasn't on Wikipedia when I put this in, you know, so I've kind of gone back to this video here that I caught a glimpse of. This car crash, Tiger Woods breaks both of his legs or something like that, right? So we've got the leg end getting broken again, the ledge end getting broken, and they even refer to him as the goat as well. You know, like they referred to Brady, and the dam is the goat. All right. Now, just some of the stuff that's in here, right? Some of this is in the Wikipedia link, but some of the stuff is kind of already got missing. Let's just run through it. We've got Palos Verdes, and I think the guy says it's Rancho Green Trees. You know, well, I'm just looking at the Palos. I just say Palace Verde. You know, the Green Palace. That's Oz. You know, Genesis 8 is we're back to Noah. This is I got it up here. I did have it up here somewhere, but Genesis 8. This is the car that he crashes. We're talking about Noah again. You know, that's Genesis 8. The going on the ark 2 by 2, in balance 2 by 2. Hawthorne Boulevard. I mean, is this made up? I don't know, because Hawthorne. What's Hawthorne referencing? It's referencing the Crown of Thorns, and funnily enough, we were just talking about France again. Notre Dame in France, Our Lady of Paris, Notre Dame Paris, the Virgin Mary Paris, right? That's what that means. What they had that fire there, and what was saved, or it was something to do. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it was something to do with the Crown of Thorns. You know, and here we've got a reference to that. We've got the black horse, you know, the black horse of the apocalypse. We've got the 33 balance of the sun and the moon. And again, we've got the 118 popping up here, these degrees. You can't, I mean, it beggars belief, I tell you. You know, what? You know, we've got him breaking his legs. Is that telling you to look at the legend? You know, the legends that are already there. I don't know. What, you know, it can mean a number of things. The 3 legs of the Triskelion, the 3 legs of the Holy Trinity. Coming back to balance. Anyway, he mentions this, and he also mentions this Ashley Judd thing that goes on, right? And I'm just going to click on it real quick. I don't know what will come up. Oh, that's Ashley Judd page. Oh, of course, she's in Double Jeopardy, and old Alex Trebek, that hosts Jeopardy, he died on November the 8th. I think it was November. Yeah, it was November the 8th. I'm pretty sure of it. But, you know, just these kind of links that cross over between people. Just crazy. But let's look at this picture of Ashley Judd. I'm going to click on it very quickly. There's nothing really much to talk about it. But she breaks, I don't know if she breaks both of her legs as well. It's like a double leg breaker. Again, we're talking about the leg end again. And she refers to her ordeal as an odyssey. And now we're back to talking about Odysseus. And I mean, and the Space Odyssey in 2001 and 9/11 references, and it's all just. But just look at this. Look at this for an image, right? Let's see if it'll come up without playing or doing anything crazy. Look at this image. Look at her. She's in her little pod in her cocoon. You know, the fictional waters. She's, you know, the colours of the Virgin Mary. I mean, come on, this has to be made up. I don't. But again, it's the crazy stories that reality puts forward. I guess I'm just going to leave it there on that one. You know, this Super Bowl thing. Balance between the upward arrow and the downward arrow. I think I've covered everything. Sorry it's a long video, but, you know, so much to get through. And I really want to just get rid of all these tabs because they're driving me nuts. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. And don't know what I've forgotten, but I'll catch you on the next one. Alright, cheers, bye.